Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let's play some music and give everybody some chance to catch up. I just want to show you for a second who is here with me. Let's see what's blocking my Safi. Which one? Look who's here. She's parked already. So anyway, maybe I can leave this on. Let's put some music and I'll be here in a just few minutes. Let's go something happy. Happy. Right, Safi? Are you going to be present with us today? Huh, Mrs. Safi? Hi, Mrs. Safi. Hello. Hello, everybody. Oh my gosh, good to see you guys. How's everybody doing? Good morning. Let's see who is here. Empathic Truth, hello. Knitting Yogi was first. Lorna H was second. FLS, nice to see you. Millie Gemini, nice to see you. We already know what you are. Creative Guru, Kelsey, and of course Barbie is here. Look who's here. Pardon me for my coughing. I did get some cough, what do I call it, suppressants. That's really smart, but the idea is that he allows my rib cage, muscles and ribs to heal completely and kind of sacrifice lungs in the meantime. Well, we'll see, but I'm going to be just taking it when I need to really speak longer, so we will see if that's going to work. I took it about half an hour ago. So guys, we are getting to the great conjunction. It's already happening. Both Saturn and Jupiter are in Aquarius, already stationed. I yesterday went out around 6 o'clock, and where you actually see the moon, the new moon that we now have, you're going to be seeing the in the similar place, probably a little bit on the left, I think, in 2 days. The Saturn and Jupiter overlapping. They're going to be huge. It's called Christmas star. So it's 1 in 20 years that this is really happening. So it is rare, but like it's shifting elements. So it's a big debate. Is this the age of Aquarius? Is it not? I can cover it, but if you guys don't know about the Great Conjunction and what a great change and lovely change that's going to be, that's because I'm an air sign and it's coming in Aquarius. Kind of check my video about it. It's called the Great Conjunction, so you can kind of like find out a little bit more about that. So we also have tomorrow Capricorn starting. So we are going to start with Sagittarius first and wish them all of them happy belated birthdays. And then the very next one is going to be Capricorn because they are coming into on their birthday. And hopefully everybody has a coffee and you're kind of like working like your coffee. I actually still didn't have a first sip. Let me have a first sip and enjoy it. Boy, that's good. And Barbie is going to call door readings. For those of you who are new here, what we basically have, we have a twice in the reading doors. So basically I kind of shuffle. I take the 3 cards, so you pick a left, center, or the right door. And while you are like thinking about your question while I'm shuffling, you have to decide which one it is, and then that's your answer. And you have 2 questions basically to ask. So let's start. Happy birthday, Sagittarians. Happy birthday. Let's put the timestamp over here. Even though Barbie's doing a freaking excellent job. Round of applause for Barbie running the show, and you have to thank her for reminding me to take the doors out. And also mods, thanks for being fantastic and absolutely great, keeping this amazing community. I really have to say, I was very apprehensive. Initially, I really wanted to have live, and then I was very apprehensive because I've seen lives on other channels, and it just turned really quickly into unruly mess. But I decided to have people who I trust, and they are mods, and they're friendly and loving. And I think we only had maybe once something minor, and that was amazing. It's almost like 2 years. Kelsey, your birthday's tomorrow. So you are Sagittarius, no? Because tomorrow is going to be actually afternoon, after 1 p.m. Capricorn. So what is she saying? Due to health reasons, I'm looking forward to the future. Okay, so let's see, Sagis. You have 3 of Swords and you have a 9 of Pentacles. Do you have a surgery, Kelsey? I don't know, like, I mean, 3 of Swords can mean surgery. It can mean like feeling kind of like down, not feeling things are going. Okay, so that's you who is coming through. I think somebody told me about surgery, but honestly I really didn't remember. So you have 3 of Swords. This is called Tarot of the Cat, people, if anybody wants to know the name of the card. So this is really talking. Look at how Kelsey right came through. And that's another thing for everybody who is here. You don't have to just wait for your sign. Every single sign, because you're on live, is going to bring you some message. So 3 of Swords can talk about several things. Of course, you know that I generally don't kind of like do health because I'm not a medical doctor, and I really think there are other people who can do it better. But judging by my medical doctor that they're going to eradicate this cough and stuff for a year, kind of a thing, right? So 3 of Swords is one of those cards, but look at in this deck how different it is. I really have to honor what it really shows over here. So there is a tribe. 2 of them are looking in completely different directions, and they look to be like 2 very, very strong warriors, right? But it looks like there is a third force that just needs to slip out, grab the sword, and they're going to be falling right flat down, and they're not going to have this kind of like prestige situation. So 3 of Swords generally really talks about something that kind of like takes us by surprise. It's a sword, so it could be words, it could be somebody's really action, something that has been done behind your back. Because in the general Rider-Waite deck, it shows those swords piercing the heart and the bleeding heart in clouds. It shows an overall confusion about how things will evolve. And Kelsey, I know I did say I don't look this in the health ones, but this can simply talk about the surgery operation, and maybe there's like issue with the heart as well. Simply kind of like straightforward. There's also Nine of Pentacles over here, guys, and look at that. Almost looks like beautiful sapphires. Oh my gosh, I love it. And the little kitty cats are just like putting this almost like a Christmas star over here. So how can anything bad be about this card? So Nine of Pentacles generally talks about us enjoying all our material goodies. And this is really, really interesting because I am reading for a week where we are transitioning through this the Great Conjunction. Technically, it's going to be December 21st, but it's already happening. Like, it's just like the Saturn and Jupiter coming closer and closer, and then going to overlap. And because of the proximity of the moon, which has the light bouncing off the sun, it's going to look like a big star. So I think it was during the birth of the Christ, quote unquote, December 21st to 0000, that they call it the Christmas star, because it was like so nice and shining bright in the sky. So the Great Conjunction this time, however, is moving from Earth element, which we see here, to air element. And of course, like we can see fire element and we can see water element feeling a little bit confused. It's almost like you're waiting in a line and then you think you're getting ahead and they tell you, no, you go in the back. You too, you go in the back. It's like, what? Like, oh my God, right? And that's kind of like what I see here in your reading, that you're going to feel a little bit kind of like ready to fight. You're going to feel that you really don't want to be alone in everything that is really, really happening. And also you have Queen of Swords. And Queen of Swords can be very, very bitchy when she's reversed. So technically this is somebody who went through quite a bit of things, and hence she just doesn't want to waste her time. She already knows how the story ends. You see a guy in a store who is like unruly, who yells, and she will know, look, I'm not even going to look in his direction because that means wasting my time on this person, right? That's kind of like how she thinks. I already know this is not going to end well. But when she reverses, she's in a bad mood. She goes and engages. You idiot! You need to shut up! You need to... Right? So she just loses it. So hence she's really, really not a nice person when it comes like to that situation. So Sagittarius, it looks like something to me that maybe you will want people around you, but at the same time they're going to be annoying you. And it's going to be really hard for you to decide which way to go. You will claim maybe, hey, you know, I need to kind of like heal and everything. But the truth is, because the nines are showing up, and so 9 and 3 is 12, and that's the Hangman. It is really telling you that the best for you would be just to simply just watch and let everybody have their way. It's kind of like, sounds really weird when I tell you, but that's what the Hangman lesson is. It's God who is learning that you can always learn, always, 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 even from the people that you don't think you have anything to learn. So let's kind of like check it out. So you have Merchant, and the Merchant is actually a really lovely card. It's possibly connecting to this Nine of Pentacles. And also, guys, this is the transition from Earth to Air element. And it's going to be a little bit squeaky. Let's say squeaky for you. That's kind of like could be the best way to put it. So that's what I'm telling you. If you manage to train yourself to do nothing, to say nothing, just rest as much as you can and you want. Because I'm seeing the Merchant card. Ooh, I'm supposed to take the little things. I completely forgotten about it because I start earlier, so people can see who am I reading here. Hi, Tiger. Tiger just came right next to me. Where's good boy? Good boy. Merchant is when they created this card that new and upcoming nourish, right? So it's the person who kind of like figured out that, you know, only with investment you can really move forward faster, kind of a thing, right? So hence this is really talking about the financial game, about profits, but it's also talking about the business and successful businessmen. On the negative side, it can talk about being cunning, right, or crafty. Well, always kind of yin and yang, you know, kind of the situation, right? So when I see this in a combination, that can also talk about secret meetings or some kind of like negotiations that you guys might going to have. You might want to negotiate some kind of contracts, or maybe you want to switch the jobs. This might be even a lateral switch in your situation. Maybe you felt a little bit too solitary and now you want people around you, just to find out maybe that your basically new boss is a complete bitch, right? And kind of like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I'm earning a few dollars more, but oh my god, right? Also, it can actually be lucrative, so financially can go forward, right? But you might also have this metabolic dysfunction, or possibly that's normal. During the Christmas, you'll be gaining some weight. Just goes without a saying, right? So this all that I see here, even though I'm just reading it for the period up to Christmas, including Christmas, this can extend for you all the way into January. So that is like really something to keep in mind. So there you go. The cat wags the tail. So let me see. Do I have any comments? Chris showed up. I don't see Chris. Why don't I see Chris? Cecile Kelsey. Am I losing it? Oh, there it is. I just went up. Jennifer, good morning. Kelsey, good morning. Eating yogi. Chris, Sally. Hi, Sally. Nice to see you, sweetie. Sally is in Florida. She's avoiding this Michigan's horrible weather. So, of course, happy early birthday to Capricorn. You guys are next. So, let me put a stamp here for you. So you guys also get a little bit longer readings as well. So my dear Capricorn, Jennifer Richardson, the cat's tails wag or sway. I don't know. Like, I know when my Safi loves me very much, she comes with a tail up there, and it's just kind of like it titters almost. Kind of like it's kind of like really interesting motion. That's like when she's the most excited. So let's see, this one wanted to come for you, Capricorn, and this is 3 of Wands that you got. And then you have Justice, and then you have Knight of Cups. Is anything else flicked? No. So Justice here is 8, interestingly enough. And 8 to me also talks about a commitment, but it also clearly represents Libra. It represents this kind of like some kind of like balance, even though we have the 2 kitty cats on the side. 3 of Wands is, in this particular deck, talking about going into the unknown. It almost looks like it could be something romantic. This can talk about proposal, because Knight of Cups is that very romantic knight who writes poetry and who kind of like has that inclination, right? But keep in mind that the central card for you here is Justice, and it is really interesting concept of the card, right? Basically the story goes that 2 brothers came before God, right? And their father died, and they want basically the property. Each of them want the property in its entirety. One brother is very rich, another one is very poor. So the poor brother says, like, he doesn't need it. He's already rich. He really doesn't need any of that, right? And for me, I can feed my wife, I can feed my children. Like, we are really struggling. While the rich brother says, like, wait a minute. I didn't become rich because it just like fell in my lap. I really worked really hard for it. There were lots of sacrifices that we have made, but by pushing it forward, by working really hard, I got kind of like ahead. And now when I have the tools, when I have the knowledge how to invest it, how to deal with that, I know how to make more out of it. I am the best one to carry my father's legacy. So God, being now the judge, right, is kind of like saying, let me think about it. So he comes back and he says, no, each of you gets half, because with your half, you can make it kind of like go ahead in any direction you want. With your half, you can stand on your feet properly and start moving forward. So Justice is always that story about that collaboration and compromise, which you have to ask us, learner of the English, what the words really mean, because when you learn them organically, you learn them through the context, and we have to learn them with, oh, this has 20 meanings, I have to do it. Compromise means actually, should mean finding the best solution, where usually compromise is used in English. Oh, everybody has to give up something, right? So it's almost like glass half full and glass half empty. So I always choose to have it a glass half full in that situation, kind of like I would not compromise if the situation is not working out for me. Here, for you, there is going to be something that you feel that you need to give up, but you're going to be really glad that you're doing that, because this 3 of Wands is pushing you in a new direction. There's like really nothing here to clarify for you. It is absolutely super clear. And also you have additional thing. Usually justice is a number 11. But 3 and 8 are making it 11. So there is like this double meaning. 11 in this deck would be strength. And strength talks about commitment. It talks about you're going to set your goal and you're going to go in that direction. So Capricorn, generally, lately you had really, really good readings. So good for you. So that's it, Capricorns. You're starting with your birthdays tomorrow, and now we are going to start pulling the cards. Of course, I'm going to take out Sagittarius and Capricorn when I get to you. Jennifer is saying birthdays 24th, the day of complex emotions. Meditation does the dog wag the tail, does the tail wag the dog. Cute. Okay. The day of the generator, always leave a window open for the spirit to come in, from the book Secret Language of Birthdays. Well, windows are good to be open in order to regenerate the chi. I have learned that long time ago. Actually, I have my windows open all the time, only because my landlord is always cranking up the heat to impossible hot. So it's always 26 degrees, which is too hot for me. But I don't know if some people would agree with you. But it's always good to kind of like run this chi around your place. And of course, I spilled the coffee. Who is here? What we are getting? We are getting Virgo. Virgos, you are going forward first after the birthday guys. So Virgo, timestamp. Okay, Virgos. Let's see what we have here for you. Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. And round of applause, guys, for Barbie. She spent a whole working year and longer helping and posting the notes and everything, and I think that was amazing. Virgo, you have quite a few cards that came through. So you have King of Wands reversed. You have the High Priest reversed. You have Six of Pentacles. Then you have Knight of Swords reversed, and then you have the Hermit, your card. Where is your little thingy here? So we can put this here. So the High Priest and the Hermit, there are two majors that you have clearly, and it looks like the week is starting a little bit wobbly. You're going to be feeling it's kind of like weird, you know, like how crab kind of like goes and hunts, and he goes forward and tries to grab something, and if he sees a predator, he really quickly retrieves, right? So he's walking sideways, he's walking forward, but he's also walking backwards as well. That's kind of like the backward walking. I can see it here because you have also both King of Wands and Knight of Swords reversed. That tells me you will have people around you that will drive you bananas. They will have their interests, they will have their goals, they will be telling you how to do things, and it's going to be contrary to like anything else that you previously agreed, or if you are in the company, like maybe there was a system and process put in place. This is going to be completely different. It's kind of going to be similarly to a wrecking ball. But this person will be delivering this with such a big charm and smile and charisma, and you will be kind of like shocked to watch this person being followed and everybody cheering this, because you will innately know this is the wrong path to take, right? And that's why you have the Six of Pentacles. You're saying, okay, so I can engage with this person, right? And just tell him or her, well, you're so freaking wrong. Off you go, and this is going to be a disaster. Or you can just simply kind of like take care of the people who are closest to you. I kind of like see the situation almost as if there are two levels of authority. Like you have some level of authority, but you have somebody above you who is either overriding you or implementing something that maybe you wouldn't do it yourself, kind of a thing, right? Ultimately, you know, Six of Pentacles is always like about the gratitude and graciousness and giving things up, right? It's kind of like or giving things away. Look at all the kitties really waiting here for their meal. So I think you're going to try to be as positive as you could be in the situation without making big waves. Six of Pentacles, after all, is Earth. So you have Earth, and you have Earth. Keep in mind that Earth signs are actually going to feel the transition the most. And depending on how you handled Saturn and Jupiter while they were in Earth signs for the last 200 years, it's going to mean how this is going to move into the future. Because as I told you, the fire signs and water signs might be a little bit cranky. So you have a cranky fire sign over here, but unfortunately you also have an air sign that is somehow, even though you're being generous, even though you're being nice about things, even though you are trying to show this and give this like big shoulder for everybody, there's like somebody who is just undermining your efforts. So you're getting finally into your own shelf. You're getting into that hermit situation. And it's almost like, F you all, I really tried. There's like the only solution I could come up with, which was like, you know, just to kind of move with the small steps and help everybody with how they can kind of like implement these things. In terms of relationships, this also could mean that you have somebody playing a field, that you have somebody who each time you agree to a certain rule, they're going to tell you, no, we didn't. It's kind of typical gaslighting that I see over here. So this could, in that situation, can talk about that you're simply protecting your kiddos and protecting even people around you. You don't really want them to know, right? And that can be a problem. That can be kind of like creating codependency, because it could be somebody from these people that is basically angry with you because of what you are doing, right? So like you're saying in the end, oh, everybody just go away. Everybody just leave me alone. I need to process these things on my own. And Hermit is really positive when it comes through for you, because it really talks about you coming up with a wisdom that you know you're not influenced by anybody. You actually really coming up with solutions that are simply on your own. And also it can mean implementing some kind of like really kind of like good habits over here. Let me see what we get as a clarifier. See, you get a foe. Foe is somebody you know, and foe is somebody who decides to say one thing in your face and very, very different thing in to the other people, right? And this is the problem. Most likely it's a woman that we are talking about it. It's somebody who is, at least in their own head, in some kind of competition with you, and clearly they are no friend whatsoever, right? So that definitely talks about these events that might be interfering with your life during this kind of like a week. And you know, it is somebody who is in the open. We also have enemy card, and about the enemy, it's just like springs into your face, just like the Tower kind of card, and it's just like you have to deal with it on the spot. But here the problem is that we are not prepared, because this person is such kind of like, I mean, turncoat and two-faced that you really kind of like would not even imagine this is what it is. But this person did manage to undermine you through some kind of like bad advice or possibly gossip, and that way it kind of like presented you in a bad light. So just keep that in mind, right? Honestly, all you need to do in this situation is recognize the threat and close the door. That's kind of like what needs to be done, right? So This also could mean arrival of a disease. And again, different people can have different attitudes, mask or no mask kind of a thing, just the first thing that comes to mind. And kind of like it's really important that if you're taking a test, that you take a duplicate test. And that way, the only way you're going to be really, really certain. So be careful of any kind of like gossip, especially office gossip or gaslighting in your personal relationship. And ultimately, you'll be kind of like landing back on your own feet, and you're going to feel the decisions you're making moving forward are the right decisions that are in sync with who you truly are and who you truly want to be. Let me just check up with all of you here. Virgo Sun for Knitting Yogi. Did that kind of like make any sense for you? Barbie, when my Indian husband was passing, I was told to open a window to free his spirit. You see, that's two. Oh, that's very sweet. And let's see who is the next. When my husband died, he was Irish. No, we're not going here, we're going here. I don't like to talk about dying, but it is what it is. It always makes me so sad. Next one is Gemini. Okay, Gemini, let's see what. Let's make a stamp here. Okay, Gemini, what's in the store for you? Gemini, this one wants to come out. The Hangman. You don't like the situation. Absolutely, one of those signs that absolutely hates it. And then we have Rejuvenation, which is one of the Karma cards. And you also have a Two of Swords reversed. So lots of things, like you have this motive of a two showing up, which is really hard for you to kind of like make any kind of like decision whatsoever. And I really love that this card is called Rejuvenation. Look at the kitty. Kitty is having all these kind of like dreams and releasing all the stuff, even though they are standing on the top of the water, kind of a thing for the kitty. So let's go with this. So we have a 3, we have a 2, and we have a 2, right? So this is together 7. It might be a little bit of a solitary week, which is unusual for this time of a year or for this type of a week. It almost like, it's not that you're like missing invitations or anything like that, but you're just like not feeling it. You are just not jiving with it, and you're not feeling that you really, really want to go in this direction. On the 20th, when we are going into this great conjunction, so this is basically just today, I would say, for this 19 and maybe even 20th, but toward the end of the day on the 20th, you'll start changing. You'll start changing big times, because here it's simply telling you like that you spend this weekend simply just observing. And the Hangman, the whole idea over here is to understand that other people have their needs, and not on the intellectual level, right? This is like that, I think, Neptune. This is like that connection with water, where you need to really immerse yourself emotionally, which is kind of difficult for an air sign. And that's why this is kind of giving you an example how to do it. Simply let other people have their way and just observe it. Like, I mean, it's not necessarily that you're letting them quote unquote win. You're just learning more about this person. And for you, that knowledge would mean if you actually even want to continue with them. How do you want to do it? And this is almost like your karmic message and karmic lesson at this stage, that you really need to almost like submit yourself to some kind of like new circumstances or new situation. And then all of a sudden there's going to come some kind of realization for you, and this rejuvenation, which is usually the judgment card, is absolutely great and positive. It means that you have resolved whatever you needed to resolve karmically. Maybe it was just such an odd behavior for you that you need to exhibit for karma and universe to observe that you're absolutely capable of it, so hence you can maybe get more complex problem to solve in the future. But overall, after all of that happens, because this is going to feel like such a big exhilaration for you, you're going to feel, oh my goodness, this feels so good. Like, you're clearly going to be having this high energy. So this great conjunction is going to feel like that you're kind of like being pushed in some kind of completely new direction. It's weird, last night before I fell asleep, I still didn't finish this movie. I like watching documentaries. So I was watching this Bob, what was this called? What's his last name? Where is my phone? It was about a guy who worked in Area 51, and it was like, it's a 2-year-old documentary, Bob Lazar. And he is basically, they tried to set him up legally. They tried to erase his name from the education. He's really talking about this like new technology and how exciting this really was. And then basically everything like comes out as a fallout of keeping it secret and him not willing to keep it a secret and so on and so forth. So if you're into stuff, take a look at it. Now, Two of Swords, I don't really like this card when it, either way, up or down. When it's up, it's almost like impossible to reach the decision. When it's down, you feel like you're forced in making some kind of decision, and that decision is just always going to be crappy, no matter kind of like what to decide. And that kind of like always kind of like grabs you the wrong way. So let's see what you get as glorification, vanity, haughtiness. It's basically saying over here. So it is, I guess, connecting to kind of like this, and you're kind of like wondering, oh, maybe I should do this all the time. This is not necessarily what it is saying, right? Because here we see this like beautiful peacock, right, with beautiful fun tail, but he is not having it entirely displayed. But mind you, this card is always connected with arrogance and vanity and kind of like showing off, that kind of stuff, right? So this might not be you. It might be simply dealing with a person or a situation or a behavior that kind of like is signified with excess of pride or lack of humility. And that can very much be in the church, where more people who are behaving like that, they are coming to basically submit themselves to God, if you really wish, to release their sins. And then, instead of really experiencing like, I just try to get out of the freaking parking lot after the mass. It's just like nobody's letting anybody in. So this is kind of like where maybe certain things are going to click for you, right? Because just keep in mind that an excess pride can result in contempt for others and detachment. And pride is the very much the thing, that's the ego thing, right? It's this 3D thing where we are living that we really need to kind of like really worked on. This also could mean, my dear Gemini, that you have lots of suitors and that this is getting in your own head because you're being admired. But the pride also means you might look attractive, but the moment when they come close to you, they will try to change you and they might not like this quality. So it's going to be some kind of like balancing act that you really need to kind of like do that, right? So it's going to be kind of like figuring out what is a healthy ego. So be mindful of your behavior, exercise greater humility, and things will come to you, right? So that's going to be as simple as that is for you, my dear Geminis. Nobody's talking, guys. Are you just sipping your coffee there and enjoying? You guys tell me where you're from. Tell me, like, how was your week? What was new? What wasn't new? That's always good to find out. Okay, who is next? Oh, we have Aquarius next. Aquarius. Let's put a timestamp here. Aquarius. And Knitting Yogi Virgo reading made sense. Having to leave group where I'm chair and when trying to make things equitable causes more problems. That's a good decision because as per that reading, you would just be sacrificed. I mean, it's actually a really wise thing to leave it. Actually, it's warming up in Toronto today. It was really cold last week. Really cold. I had to wear double hats. And I don't think it was minus 16, whatever that is in Fahrenheit. So, Aquarius, we have Knight of Pentacles. And we have the Star. This is us. And this one wants to come through. 9 of Wands reversed. So now what's going on here? Why is there disturbance in Aqualand here? So the overall thing is 8. There is like some needs of getting things done, and it doesn't feel like that might happen. It feels like that things are slipping out of our hands, that things are kind of like not going in a good direction. It's almost like that we are asking for assistance or help from somebody, and that somebody is just really not willing to do that, and that is kind of like leaving us in a situation or being a little bit hopeless of some sort. Because Nine of Wands is also talking about feeling a loss of a battle. I don't know if you can see this card, even though here you really cannot tell what this freaking card means by this kind of like thing. There's just simply somebody who is waiting, but it almost looks like there is like some kind of like jail. So everybody's jailed, and it almost like, just like what I got is like, so you put everybody in jail, you won, but what did you win, right? What did you win? You're on your own. There was no communication. You had to impose basically martial kind of law of some sort. And maybe this is like what both is making kind of like this feeling hopeless. Look at how lovely this card really is. Like I am kind of like, I'm really, it's not because of Aquarius, that I'm Aquarius sign, but I love this card the most in any deck. When there is no hope, there is no life, right? So nothing else pretty much exists without us willing to make an effort. So our native card is basically turning around and turning on us this particular time, because somebody, I don't even think this is a letdown, because this person is up, this Knight of Pentacles. Knight of Pentacles to me is always a friend. But this person is either, it's almost like looking, he's going or she's going in the past. And for Aquarians, because we don't like to break friendship. You can break any relationship that you want. But I don't think that Aquarians kind of like really like the concept of breakups. So that's why breakups are really difficult on Aquarians, especially when it comes to friends. So this is not going to be a breakup, but just a realization that you're not jiving anymore, and it's going to be a very, very, very sad realization, and that's very, very interesting. So Chris is saying my coffee is still under construction. Okay, so we have thought, and that kind of like makes sense. It's going to be possibly a solitary week. This is actually not a bad card. Thought means kind of like thinking through things that we really need to figure out for ourselves, right? It is kind of like also planning. This also can be very close to Judgment card, right? That kind of like we have in tarot. But this is also about the daydreams and visualization that we see in this card. So it's almost like, and this is, I really think, already starting for us, even though this is the reading for a week in advance. I have a feeling this is already happening in the last few days. Any Aquarius over here, that the last 2 days, maybe you felt some kind of like disturbance of some sort, and possibly disturbance by a friend or from a friend of some sort, right? So this is kind of like a need for consideration or reflection and tackling inner struggles, right? And it's really telling us we really need to think before leaping out in a judgment. Or it can also talk about that there are different things. It could be about relationship, it could be intellectual issues, it could be even economic situation, but we need to make some kind of like judgment over here, right? This card also sometimes refers to a person who is taking their sweet time, and this is also very slow moving card, like before the decision is being kind of like made. So if this is a relationship thing, for example, you might be dealing with an earth sign, or air sign, or fire sign. I think the earth sign is just showing up, we are just way too different. We are pulling in different direction. This is kind of like a bittersweet realization. Where with one sign, where you had a lots of hope and willingness to go forward with, you're just realizing, I'm just like feeling wounded all the time, right? So it's going to be one of those weeks where we will need to find a way to resolve a situation, possibly repair a relationship, possibly move a relationship to the next level. But it's going to be that talk that we really need to have, right? Going to be the new strategies. So we need to do something, because the way it's going, it's not productive, it's not beneficial. It can bring some good decisions, but I really don't think it's going to be before Christmas, kind of a thing. So we need to think through risks before moving forward, because sometimes we just jump into the action without really thinking everything through, then it costs us. So take your time, consider all the angles before you render a decision. And I would really advise the decision is not rendered this particular week. Just wait after the Christmas holidays, right? So let's do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's grab one more. And guys, hopefully you did something with Christmas. I actually didn't even put my Christmas decoration. The only thing is like those 2 deers from a dollar store, these little tingly things. This is for you, but that's it. I did nothing else. It's kind of sad. Capricorn, we did you. Happy birthday to Capricorn again. Libra, you're next. So now we have all 3 air signs, and it's kind of weird. This air sign is jumping through. They're saying, oh, the great conjunction is coming in air. Talk to me. Kind of like that's, I'm simply feeling it. So Libra, I'm Libra ascendant. How many other people have a moon or inner planets in Libra or ascendant or the sun? Let me know. I know our grand moderator Barbie is Libra. Let me just find your tag over here. So my dear Librans, thank you. Oh, thanks, Sally. I was just like digging through my old boxes. Let's go and find something different. Even for the yes or no question, I found a different deck as well that I'll use. So yeah, I think my cough is actually not as deep as it was, so that's good. So Libra, what's happening with the great conjunction over here? Ooh, the North Node is in Libra, which means you have been really aggressive in your past life, really aggressive, and now you're trying to figure out this diplomacy thing. So you have Death, which is a 4 vibration, then you have 4 of Wands, which is a 4 vibration. Are you guys leaving something behind? And you have the Hermit reversed. You're trying to leave something behind, but you're having a big doubts, which kind of like is really typical for Libra if you really think about it. But look, your cards are adding to, so let me see, 13 and 4 is 17 and 9 is 26, so it's altogether adding to 8. It is some kind of commitment. Almost looks like the Hermit is always, do I really want to stay solo or I don't want to be solo? That's the problem, because this is the card that says going forward. This is card saying I need to sacrifice something. Oh, look at the dead kitty walking around. So it simply could mean that some decision has to be reached. And whenever you're forced into making a decision, it's kind of like really weird. We kind of like see kind of like illumination of the moon. I don't know if you can see here a fading sun. It's almost kind of a little bit covered, but look at it basking in the sun, kind of like a scene over here. And here, like, it's a darkness. It's a complete darkness that you need to kind of like use your own intuition in order to move forward. That's what that lantern is for. So this can be really interpreted in an extremely positive way to say, look, something has to stop, and that something could be, let's say, being a singleton, right? And you're deciding you're not going to be single. Now you're moving to the next stage, whatever this next stage is. Maybe the next stage is like being one-on-one, or you know, you have this talk, or maybe you're moving in, or maybe you're deciding to have a child. So it's always kind of like progression of a relationship, and then oh my god, what have I done? Kind of like, which is kind of like a possibly even normal reaction, kind of like, especially if something is happening too quick. And then and again, like, you have the water and you have the earth over here, and if you are dealing with those elements, then these people are not going to, they're going to feel themselves in a completely new territory with now this great conjunction moving us into the air. And that's why many people, including me, believe this is now official age of Aquarius, even though I think this is just second phase. Age of Aquarius, in my opinion, started during the Industrial Revolution, and that's what I learned in Kabbalah, and I fully agree with that. So that can also be interpreted in a possible negative way, that you are like overly enthusiastic to go and get somewhere and to accomplish something, that maybe you're saying yes, or you are asking somebody else to say yes, and then all of a sudden you're realizing, oh, I should have beware what I wish for, because now I'm finding myself into some possible mess. Because the Hermit, when the Hermit reverses, it's really talking about that somebody didn't really think through this entire process, and hence you will still have to deal with the situation all over again. So let me just say good morning, CVO Music, nice to hear from you. Everybody healthy, I hope. So look, you have a young woman here, and the young woman is reversed. So I don't know if this young woman is you, is this young woman, but it's reversed, so it could be an old woman, or it could be somebody who is pretending to be younger than they are, right? We always know these people who kind of like have these attitudes, but I kind of like almost like that attitude, because it's almost like forcing you to kind of like have this like more dynamism about you. But she is reversed, so this is that really sweet figure over here that really happens. The general, this card talks about flirtation, and that flirtation sometimes usually goes into something meaningful and lasting, right? And maybe something is really happening way too fast over here, because when she's reversed, it talks about a lack of maturity or frivolity, or that something after all is insignificant, and you're feeling, well, now I committed myself, he moved into my house and what do I do now? He's not putting the toilet seat down. He's not picking up socks after himself. Now I have to continuously kind of like work with this. So just allow this kind of like period for adjusting, and kind of like put you down your house rules if this is the case. So this can also mean that, like, I mean, you're ending something in a hurry, that you rushed into something and then you realize something is not working, and then you're just deciding to, hey, you know, I really don't want to do it. If you're a man and you're dealing with a female, for example, this can suggest to somebody who is simply, I don't know, very frail, or listless, or somebody who is very unambitious and very, very unreliable. And it could be something that is just a recent thing, that you just met somebody, you got mesmerized with somebody, you decided to kind of like take this leap of faith, do life changes, and then, you know, I mean, I have been reading things about this person, that are really, really not true. So that's kind of like what's going to be really important. That's right, Barbie is saying it is a time to me to cover this so I can shuffle without using the jumpers. So let me take my Tarot Lenormand cards. You guys know the process. So this is where you ask a question, your question. It can be any question, but more or less it's going to be yes or no, even though I sometimes elaborate. And you will pick, do you want a left, do you want a center, or do you want a right card? So let me shuffle. Have a sip of coffee. Oh, this one wants to come out. Okay, for the door on the left. Woo. And this. There we go. Let me just undo this and put it here, put a stem. Okay, guys. If you ask for the door number 1 or the left door, this is what you get. I guess this means matchy. In Croatian we would say much, so this is Russian. 6 of Swords, it means and it's kind of weird. We have this big both. Maybe you're having a difficult situation. It's talking about leaving a situation. It's talking about leaving the situation behind. So if you asked to make the situation work, currently you need to separate yourself from the situation and have this hope that something else is going to be better. It's interesting though that this is kind of like merging the tarot and Lenormand. That's why it's called Tarot Lenormand. So there is a merchant over here, but there's like also Six of Swords. It's clearly telling me that maybe what you are wishing is not the best for you, that somewhere else your unique qualities would be much better utilized or seen as a positive. Then we have the Five of something, Kubki. I would say this would be, what would I say this would be? I don't know what Kubki is. I would say Cups. Kubki. What's Kubki? Let me see what other Kubkis do we have here. This is Kubki. That means nothing to me. Kubki sounds like cups, but I don't know Russian. Like Russian is very similar to Russian, but here I would not guess. Honestly, when I saw this card, it looked to me like the Knight of Pentacles. So it is a 5. So it could be 5 of Wands, could be 5 of Cups, where could be 5 of Swords, and I think this is 5 of... Oh, this is clearly not Swords because it's not much. So anyway, let me just go with what I see, because I really don't want to give interpretation of any sort. So clearly we see here, you know, there is like, I mean, a winning party over here. To me, this will be making the most sense for 5 of Swords, but it isn't. So maybe it's a 5 of Wands. And it's really talking about showing off. Somebody is, if you want this wish to come true, is going to be at the detriment of something else, and somebody's going to really, really pay a high price. This card sometimes talks about other people being involved and needing to kind of like deal toward many naysayers, right? And kind of like be very careful even if you win, because this is kind of like one of those tricky cards that I see. Even if you win, it might take you in the zone that you're not going to like. So kind of proceed very, very carefully with this, and just think about all these people who quote unquote lost in order for you to win. What if you were one of them? Like, you know how they say, just watch how the person treats other people who are lesser than he or she is. That's kind of like how you know quite a bit about a person. Hello, Isa, nice to see you. And then we have 17, that's the start, or Zvezdi. In Croatian we say Zvezda, very, very similar. And this is a resounding yes over here. There is like something that is going to be taken forward. There's like something for you that is a reason to be hopeful and to kind of like really, really go in your direction. Oh, look at that, that's so cute. And now we have the cards for the mods, and let me go back and go in the order of appearance. So we have Knitting Yogi, you have Enthusiasm. Look at that. So you see all of these decisions that you're doing, you're going to be focusing on yourself, I think. And look at that, like it's a little shawl, and I think you're going to have a really fantastic Christmas, that you're going to be some new energy coming into you and going to start feeling there is like a really, really good path ahead of you. So I really like that. Lorna H. Lorna, play. Lorna, this is absolutely lovely. I don't know if you're like close to the beachy kind of like environment exactly. Not so much in Toronto, even though I don't think we'll have White Christmas. But this is really telling me that you just need to let your guard down, and you just really need to somehow kind of like find this common ground on some kind of like playfulness, and that's kind of like going to take you kind of further in some kind of direction. So the next one is Barbie. Let's see what we see here for Barbie. Exploration. So what is it, Barbie? You are kind of like at least dreaming about the places that you're going to visit of some sort? Or are you being a detective and trying to figure something out? We clearly see kind of like you're trying to bring something to your scope of vision. Also, this could mean that maybe you'll be looking in the sky to see this Christmas star. And it also tells me that you're setting up new goals and kind of like going in that direction. Let me see who is next. And Chris showed up. Chris, you have obedience. Make sure that you stop on your red signs. If you hear a no, the no is a no, or that you don't go in certain directions that you know that maybe you shouldn't be going. This is kind of like simply maybe because you're injured, going to be maybe intuitive exercise, kind of like to go through, and it's kind of like cute. Then the next one is Sally. Sally, you have balance. Kind of like, don't take everything to your heart too much. If there are like things that you really need to talk and address, put them aside. We should all pray for Sally's mom, and it looks like she's getting better, but you know, you never know. I don't want to tell this entire story, Sally. You go ahead if you want to, but I just wish everybody just to send your mom really, really positive and happy wishes. Do I have anybody else that I have missed here? Where's Australia today? Oh, I have CBO music over here. Simplicity. Off you go. Just make things as simple as possible. You know this KISS principle, keep it simple, stupid. And so if you're trying to complicate anything, just don't. It's not going to be worth it. It's not going to bring you anything. And Isabel, I'm going to actually make you into a moderator because you're coming now often. So, Isa, let me just read a card for you. Surrender. Just go with the flow. Certain things are just like not as important as you think that they are. So, that's it for now. And let's go in the second half. Let's go and get a sip of coffee. Sip of coffee. And Scorpio is opening the second part. The big second act coming in a drama way. So you know they have to set the stage for something that is really, really happening. Let's put a timestamp here. Scorpio. And your thing here. Let's do it. Oops. Holy moly. So you have the Eight of Wands reversed, the Lovers reversed, the Knight of Cups reversed, and you also, oh, there are three here. Did I not tell you? They'll have to set the stage. That's, I know, the Scorpio. Four of Swords reversed, Three of Pentacles reversed, and then you have Temperance. So it looks like, first of all, you have two majors, which is really, really important. There's like a King of Cups, but it's reversed. So there's like some expectations here. Somebody is not coming through with level of engagement that you would really want to have. And I really think you're calling them on it. The Lover's card, when it's reversed, it simply means that somebody's not in it. Somebody's not in it. Also, this is coupling with Eight of Wands. So somebody's saying the right words, but their actions are not following, because the Eight of Wands are basically the arrows of love. It is kind of like something that is really, really going in a direction that is positive, and maybe you're waiting for something, and maybe something is delayed. So be very careful not to jump the gun, because something is brewing. Maybe somebody's waiting for the right situation. I had this friend, and then he was dating this girl for a couple of years, to the point that I was saying, so how many more years will you date before you decide what's happening there? Well, you know, he was not in a good financial situation. He couldn't buy an expensive ring. So he finally went and got a ring. And I saw, basically, I'm calling him the next day in the afternoon, not to wake him up. So should I say congratulations? And he's crying. I said, what's up? He said, well, before I even started to propose, she was like telling me that, what is this? This is not going anywhere, that I am not, ambitious, that I didn't kind of like propose. And I said, so what stopped you of pulling the ring out of your pocket? He said, obviously it's not meant to be. There you go. He was Pisces, she was Aquarius, and they never made it. It's just kind of weird. It was right on that crucial point, and that kind of like describes situations similar to that. That you're reaching the point where decision has to be made of some sort. But the Knight of Cups is saying, again, somebody prefers romance, but not the romance that would mean maybe living together with somebody, right? And it could be a little bit of quietness on all fronts. Maybe going to kind of like chill down this entire situation and just see where the chips fall. Let's see what this all adds up to. 3 and 4 is 7, and 6 and 8 is 14, so 21. It's really 21, 3 and 5, so it's 8. So it is about commitment. It is about some big decisions. Temperance is really interesting what is coming through last, because it almost looks like that you will be almost like segregating, that you will kind of like create bigger and bigger and bigger vacuum over this week. It's going to be a lots of things, and you might be dealing with another basically water sign, which is really interesting. You might be also dealing with an air sign as well, and it's going to be, or possibly even fire sign, to be honest, because you have a temperance in the end. But I really think this temperance more or less talks about once when you realize that you kind of like had your back up and certain things didn't really work out the way you wanted, all of a sudden you're realizing that there is an option how to make it work, or both of you finally come through. So I really think it's going to be happy ending over here, but it's going to be very, very turbulent and very dramatic, and actually you like it that way. Just keep in mind that not many people like it that way. So if you're not dating another Scorpio, and you're dating somebody more sensitive like Pisces, right? Or somebody who kind of like really values romance more than anything else, is taking them really down to the depths, and then taking the oxygen out of them and depriving them, and then just say, oh, I don't know, I meant it all along. It might work once, but the next time they are going to call it off. So just be very careful, because you have that intensity, which, because you have it, it's kind of hard to understand that other people don't have it. And there it is, the lover. There is the lover. There is like all for love. That's kind of like going to be a week. Not much to talk about it. It's going to be, look, you either love me or you don't love me. If you don't love me, then off you go. If you love me, we have to do this now. It's almost like you're going to be treating this whole situation black and white, which I don't think the other person treats the situation the same way. So hence, you might not feel they're really going in the same direction that you are going. So be kind of like more careful and more patient and more willing to kind of like work with their timing and their schedule and that sort of things. And I think it's going to go much, much further than kind of like you even realize in the first place. Okay, who is next? Who is next? Next one is Aries. Aries. Let's see what we have for you, Aries. Okay, and timestamp is written in, and your card, and let's shuffle. Let's shuffle. Let's shuffle. Okay, we have rejuvenation, but it is reversed, so you're going to be kind of like getting slap on the wrist of some sort, but you have also the High Priestess. Actually, it's all good, and you have 10 of Wands reversed. You know how some people hate reversals? Well, how about this card where reversal is really actually good? So rejuvenation or Judgment card, when it reverses, it means that you're on the receiving end of something. You will be on the receiving end of something that you didn't get. It was like something subtle. Somebody is ignoring you. Somebody maybe went out of their way to minimize engagement with you, because maybe they haven't been able to handle the situation that you do, or they're dealing with it differently, or maybe they have some kind of resentment about you. You haven't picked up on those very, very subtle hints, because you like people to come to you and tell you what it is. And I really don't think that was the case. I don't think that some situation has been resolved. And hence you're getting the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is saying, you need to go deep inside of yourself. You need to do that meditation or prayer or get your tarot reading, or like you need to go inside, or you need to have a mentor, somebody who can help you open your gates, open your doors, because you're very good. Your sign is good to be on the surface, right? Because this is your domain. You're the very first sign. You are opening all the freaking doors. You cannot open the doors and dig burrows at the same time, right? You just slam it open and let everybody else to sort out and take whatever they need. But this High Priestess is really taking you back, right? It's taking you almost like quote unquote pre-birth. It's taking you back into that spiritual state where you're supposed to be. Both of them are signifying water. So it's going to be lots of kind of like emotionality that will be happening over here. But that emotionality is going to be simply some kind of processing on your end. This simply could mean also, guys, that there is like somebody that you really connected and loved, and that you're really remembering. This is resurfacing. So whatever resurfaces for you in the spirit is going to be very important, but it is resurfacing, and that's why you have 10 of Wands. 10 of Wands always talks about unnecessary burdens and something that is hard, and some things like the cross that we carry and that sort of stuff. Secrets, people not telling you stuff, right? But when it reverses, things are coming out in the open. Things are being talked about. And when, once when you face things, as long as you're willing to face things, things can actually be resolved. So let's see a little bit more about that 10 of Wands. You put panda for Aries and penguin. That's unusual. And look, you have melody reversed. I don't know if somebody's sick and that's kind of like what it is, and you really didn't activate yourself and help them, and maybe you're feeling bad about it, or it's kind of like weird that you got this card, because to me it always really talks about depression, but it's reversed. So it means, again, because this one is reversed and it becomes positive, and this one is positive when it's reversed. So this is some kind of healing of, I would say, relationship, or something that it felt like a knot in the throat, right, of some sort. It's also, if you have been sick, that's kind of like the end of that period of sickness or confusion. And when it comes to relationships, so the two parties or whoever you have been, almost like somebody is very close to you, has been close to you for a long period of time. So that could be a family member, could be husband or wife, and this kind of indicated it was like some kind of like misunderstanding or conflict or some kind of obstacle. So now this is really telling me that people are coming to their senses and they're resolving their issues, and that was the part of maybe people developing diseases as a result of this long enduring stress, because this card lasts a long time. So this was not just a weekly kind of thing that you just fell into depression. This could have been that you've been dragging that for a couple of years, right? Close to a couple of years. And it is very, very important, right? So for some of you, this also meant possibly issues with unemployment, and that might get resolved. Well, of course, for that you need to kind of like make an effort, and it's kind of like I'm picking up on lethargy, like, oh, I don't want to, and who the hell is hiring before Christmas? Just go ahead, just do it. Kind of like it's going to make a huge difference. So that's very important, Aries. So you will be transported into a very spiritual week and a very spiritual dose of who you are. So it's going to be a little bit different week for you. So nobody's talking again. Look at this, we have 29 people, concurrent viewers. We have Pisces. And let's see, Pisces, what you have to say. And this is like one of those signs that always likes to celebrate. They're like always kind of rituals, and they want to teach us about the goodness and everything. So it's always kind of like good. So let's see what we have here. We have King of Pentacles. Is there like somebody in your life that is, you're putting them on a pedestal, they're putting you on a pedestal? This one is the Hangman. Holy moly. Then you have the High Priestess. Holy moly. And let's see, you have 3 more. You have the Emperor reversed, you have the Magician reversed, and you have Knight of Wands. 4 majors. So Pisces, just as it is. To me, I don't consider excuse me, I don't consider Pisces really a sign. I just consider Pisces like a path. It just, you already kind of like, you're just waiting for us to sign off on this 3D version of who we are and what we need to learn, and you're there to say, come on, here, I know this 3D sucks, yes, I know it was horrible. Just don't piss off Pisces, because then they're like super vicious. They become piranhas when you piss them off, but otherwise they're okay. Just don't put something in the water that's going to mud the water. It looks like it's kind of weird. You will try to, you have a Knight of Pentacles and you have a Knight of Wands. You'll have people around you. That much for social distancing, right? But you also have really interesting cards. Both the Magician and the Emperor are very kind of like masculine principle. The Hangman is more like feminine principle, so is the High Priestess. And you see this feminine principle is upright, where the masculine principle is reversed. So it almost like it's going to be some kind of polarization of attitudes. It could be something as simple as you do your, you wash the dishes, I'm going to chop the wood kind of a thing. And given that these 2 cards are kind of like bookends and they're also upright, I would just say, especially if you're a female Pisces, just give in. This is going to be for a week, but you are being tested to see if you're that superior being, to see if you can really handle it, because you also have ability to enforce whatever you want. If you do enforce, it might cost you. It might come back later to kind of like balance that slate and everything else. Also, if you try to kind of like butt heads with whoever is going to be coming to, this could be your father, this could be somebody in a position of authority or a boss. It could be lots of crap happening at work over here. Simply kind of like you keeping up a very cheery and positive and goal-oriented kind of attitude, and knowing who you are, knowing what you accomplished, while at the same time being relatively gentle, maybe even quiet, because both of these cards, the Hangman, he's not saying anything. He's just saying, okay, fine, it's fine with me. The High Priestess, she knows very well the good from bad, and she's sitting right in between. So she's not necessarily just saying one is good, one is bad, because she knows we are coming to this planet to learn about the both, right? So for you, understanding of the situation is what really is the lesson for this particular week. Let me just get a card, because you got lots and lots and lots of cards over here. You see, foe, just like as I was saying, that could be a female actually that is messing up with you. It's somebody who you really think it's your right hand, who you really cherish and appreciate, but this person is talking really smack about you. That could be really at work and undermining the efforts that you are doing, and you're getting these results. You're not so sure why you're getting crappy results, and so on and so forth, right? So that is really really important to know. So you need to figure out who this person is. That's all you need to do. Don't go and engage, right? Just for you to reveal and understand is going to be really important, because that's what's going to allow you to move forward with not engaging with this person over. But you're going to neutralize the person the moment when you know who she is, because I think it's a woman over here. So Pisces, very very intense week, and is going to ask you to really be the best you can be. Do not engage. Allow them to basically bury themselves, because that's what's going to happen if you don't engage. Otherwise, you will be in a full war, and then you have to have a war instead of just kind of like really handling things from a distance, which is kind of like perfect for you, right? Did I put the Pisces? I did put the Pisces. Let's see who's next. The next one is Leo. Let's see. We have Leos here. Sally is a Leo. Anybody else? CPO Music, what are you? I just keep forgetting. Over here, Leo. Let me just put a timestamp. Leo. Leo. Is nobody talking? Because I'm not seeing here anybody talking. And if I refresh, I'm going to lose all of these conversations, so I don't want to do it. So hopefully you guys are alive. Oh no, Barbie put the Leo up here. So we have a Death, you have Queen of Cups, and you have the Hangman. Whoa. It's weird. And Death to me, I think, signifies this great conjunction, that there is going to be the end of one period, end of one era, and beginning of another. It's interesting, like your fire sign, this great conjunction is going to be good for you, ultimately very good for you, even though, for example, Libra and Leo will be very different in quality, because you are the signs who want to kind of like have groups, and who, if nothing else, for these groups to kind of like be your admirers, or something that you can attribute, you can lead them, but it's going to make you into a more independent person. Interestingly, Queen of Cups is kind of like this queen that has so much to give. She has the biggest cup of all. Nobody has such a big cup. Usually the cup is closed because she has to really watch who she gives it to. Look at this, like it's a little bit kind of like leopard going around over here. And over here we almost like see this evaporating, kind of like she's almost like that you're a bite. You'll be attracting kind of like different kind of like circumstances to yourself, but overall you will feel still a little stuck. Right? Look at this. You're going from that, which is the energy of 4, to from 13, 1 and 3 is 4, to 12, 1 and 2 is 3, energy of 3. It's almost like going from the Emperor to the Empress, right? From a very active principle and very kind of like aggressive principle to a passive principle, right? And this is really interesting. So you're almost like stepping back. You are saying to yourself that nurturing is extremely important. That is a good card when it's upright. Good card if you're willing to change. Some people absolutely hate change. Some people just would do anything just not to change. You're a fixed sign. You generally don't like change very much, but so I'm a fixed sign, and actually I thrive on change, so it doesn't have to really apply that way. So this simply means that certain things are going to just stop being. So it could be a good thing. That could be like anything that bothered you, that it's no longer bother you, and hence you're not going to have anything holding you back, and hence you're able to have this like big amount of things to give. But you're feeling stuck. The Hangman can simply talk about, okay, where do I go from here? And as a result, you see that's the inverted 4, which kind of like, it's almost like shuffling this in a catch-22. Maybe the week is going to be very confusing, and kind of like, how do I process this? And it's more or less going to be, okay, let's let others to do whatever they want. Let them freaking run the show. I don't care, so on and so forth. Kind of like that attitude, right? So let me see the card you get, and you get money. And even though this card is called money, I was looking at this card. This card has so many details, right? And most of these bags have denomination on them and how much it is. So clearly talks about maybe reassessing your own advantages. Money clearly means that you either are fine or you're going to be fine financially, either or, right? It's talking about a good fortune. This can actually talk about lottery winnings of some sort. So it could be literal ticket, or it could be that simply, there's like some prestige of some sort that you're going to get. This also tells me that maybe you're setting things right, and that can talk about your own self-worth, your own confidence, and also that you are revisiting all your successes that you have, kind of like a thing, right? So combination over here would tell me that it's going to be a positive emotion and it's good in relationships, except the caveat would be that you need to kind of like worry a little bit about gold diggers, whether you're man or female, kind of like both ways. Maybe that you're thinking about collecting capital and kind of like looking at in that direction, kind of a thing. Also that you are kind of like trying to set new financial goals, and hence you're just simply spending lots and lots and lots and lots of time thinking how to really do that, right? But I would say that this is connecting also to your family, that it could be maybe that this is a source of your wealth or source of your good fortune. And but as I said, it could be also the winnings or some kind of like business sources, or you might get some kind of like bonus, and if so, good for you and lucky you. So this card is associated with fortune, but what I told you, some of these books don't have anything written on them. So what is in those books? What is so important that the books are basically on the shelf? So it can be also that there are some kind of like secrets, or there can be simply some kind of like self-understanding about yourself, or that you need to understand that maybe you need to guard yourself more and not to be as transparent as you have been, because it's going to be helpful for you in the future. So hopefully that's going to happen. You see Sally is welcoming change, so that's kind of like awesome. So there you go. Now we have two left. We have Cancer. I have three of them here because one of them I didn't draw, but it's Cancer and what? Taurus. That's left. And the Cancer is going forward. Cancer. Cancer. Ooh. We have the Wheel of Fortune reversed, Two of Swords, Ten of Wands, Two of Wands, and the Magician. This is very, very strange because look, this is a vibrational one, and this is a vibrational one, and this is a vibrational one, and these two are vibration of the two. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 7 is also kind of like really solo vibration, but 7 also represents the Chariot, which is basically the card that represents you in tarot. It talks about setting up the goals, kind of like moving forward, having a new direction. And I really think for you this is going to come on a foot of trying to force things out, and that kind of like bothers me a little bit because you're getting this Wheel of Fortune reversed. It almost like feels like that you feel things were kind of like coming against you and that you really couldn't go forward. Maybe you're feeling that you're fighting for something. It is really difficult for you to make decisions, and it is based on maybe some unfortunate kind of like events that have been happening for a while, right? Ten of Wands can talk about transparency and things coming on the surface, things finally being revealed. You finally know why certain things couldn't work, and then you're going to maybe realize it had nothing to do with you, and it was not against you, it was just simply the way it was. Something had been happening, and maybe it was a good thing that happened. I remember here in Canada, everybody wanted to work for Nortel, and I don't know what they would be moving from. You know, like, I mean, we had them in Toronto, we had them in Ottawa. They would be moving, and from the big houses that you can buy in basically, you know, rural areas, they were going to tiny little apartments that we live here in Toronto. And then Nortel pulled the plug, and people start being unemployed, and they didn't even get these gold-plated pensions. Everything was just a freaking mess, right? So that's why, like, I mean, maybe somebody who didn't manage to get it, maybe it was really kind of helping them, really, even though at the time they didn't see it. So something like that, I actually see it here. Be very wary of the Magician that is reversing, because this is somebody who could be a bully. This is somebody who is stomping their feet and saying, that's the way it's going to be. So if this person is in a position of authority to you, he might kind of reach decision to fire you, because it's going to be a clash. It's going to be a clash with another person where you're not going to see things eye to eye, and maybe in a conversation or argument things are going to resurface that are going to make it clear to you what is happening. And maybe you're going to realize that there's just a person who is a source of unhappiness, or that you're simply the status quo that cannot go forward. So if you don't want to be fired, or if you don't want to quit, then I don't know what to advise you, because I see that things are going to get really, really edgy. So let me just get here. What card we get here? And you're getting old woman. We had young woman, we have old woman. But this old woman, she's sitting in this grandma apartment, which to me looks like very, very yin. It has a very stagnant energy, clearly. This is not a window, I would say this is a mirror. She's not looking in a mirror. But at the same time, she's having her feet on this basically very, very big book, telling me that she probably knows everything that is really, really happening. And she has the wisdom that comes only with the age and only with experiencing certain things, right? So I'm not saying that you're an old woman, but this is really telling you, try to be wise in a situation. This simply also could be advice of somebody older. So if you have, let's say, a conflict with your boss, if there is like somebody above this person, that's the person you should turn to. That also can talk about simply turning onto, in your own family, to the elderly for advice, or I guess getting a coach or a tarot reader, somebody who is trying to navigate you through the situation. It's connecting with intuition and with wisdom. That's really, really important, because with the magician, he's like a rock star. God is coming on this planet and he goes, yeah, kind of like, let me show you, we have diamonds, and what do you want, what do you want, what do you want? It's like proverbial kind of like thing, you know. And then they go to High Priestess and she's quiet and she goes, she's thinking to herself, did you fall for it? I guess you did. I see some trinkets that you got yourself. So be very careful. This is going to be a form of valuable advice. So somebody who will help you manage a relationship or manage this conflict. And it can be somebody who can provide some kind of like assistance. It's going to be really, really important. So that wisdom and just listening is going to be very important for you in the situation. Because remember, all of these cards add to 7, which means you have to be back on a horse. And that could mean you're already setting the goals to maybe leave. That simply could mean that in your own head, you know, even though maybe you're saying to yourself, it's not a time, it's a freaking pandemic, I shouldn't be rocking the boat. But now you're realizing that, you know, you just keep spinning that rat wheel and it's nothing changing. So you're setting kind of a new direction in your own head to move forward, and that's important. And the last one, even though I have 2, so which one was it? Sagittarius that didn't open? Yeah, Sagittarius, which we did first. So again, happy birthday, Sagittarius. And the very last one, we have Taurus. So let's see the earth sign that is like now going through the great conjunction and losing their element for the next 200 years. So let's see how this is, because this one is the slowest of earth signs. So let's see how that's going to affect you. Let's check. Taurus. And remember, guys, we do not have live next week. We have holidays over here, but I'm going to resume the week after. So you have King of Swords reversed. You have 8 of Wands reversed. It could be some kind of conflict with an earth sign, with air sign. It could be me and my dad at each other's throats, and then still saying, well, I love you, kind of a thing. And then the Hangman. Why the Hangman came through like so frequently in today's weeklies. So look at that. This is adding up to 20, which is judgment, which kind of means a certain thing need to be released. And it is kind of like a spiritual notion moving forward. I don't really like King of Swords, and I don't like when I become King of Swords, because it kind of like pushes you in a situation that you say mean things. You say mean things because you're tired, or because you're not sensitive, you're not realizing that the other people are also prone to suffering, and they may also had something happening. You're just simply at that moment thinking about yourself and your own needs. You're not looking in the whole and creating a balance, because the moment when you create imbalance, then judgment jumps in and says, I'll make you balancing out sooner or later. So you win here and you lose somewhere else. So this is kind of like one of those things that even all spiritual teachers are really talking about it. Like the whole point is like catching yourself, because if you don't catch yourself, you're gone. It's just what Eckhart Tolle calls it, pain body, I believe, right? But if you manage to catch yourself, you're able to pull yourself. The more times you catch yourself, the more times you build this barrier, and then you're able to kind of like really shift your entire attitude, which kind of like looks this way, not necessarily entirely, but at least you realize really quickly how inappropriate this was, and just saying, okay, fine. It almost could be a conflict, kind of like, hey, what are we going to do? Your way or my way? With Taurus, it's always your way. And people kind of like already know, as I said, you're slow. It's kind of hard to move. It's a fixed sign. You don't like the change. But you really appreciate kind of like when people react to you about goodness and everything else. And that's why Eight of Wands is really a crucial card over here, because this one is mean and it looks like somebody's coming through you, or to you, or maybe there's like some kind of conflict that may happen. And the Hangman simply means, okay, fine, whatever, it's good with me. Whatever you give it to me, it's good with me. So it's almost like suggestion that you also need to try to figure out, even if something bad happens, why it happened. Maybe there's like somebody that resents you. Maybe there's like somebody who is trying to undermine you, but if this is not resolved right now before it starts to fester, right, it can really end up in a much bigger conflict later. So that's kind of like important to know. And you have a prison here, and I always see this card prison as marriage. We see this nobleman chained, and we see him sitting on the bench. He has his hands in his face. He's devastated. Something really, really happened to him that is really devastating him. I didn't even put the stamp here for you. So why is he not turning around and seeing that there is like somebody placed the vase here? Is this having a key in it? Is there having some kind of solution? Because he's in the same situation, the Hangman. Oh, I'm here in the situation, I really have to deal with this, right? So it could be a period of anxiety for you. It could be some kind of like a guilt that you're experiencing. It could be simply there's like a difficulty of moving on. Maybe somebody really pissed you off to the point of no return, kind of a thing. It's possible. It could talk about a closure. It can talk about relationships that have grave misunderstanding, but it can also talk about that those relationships could be addressed, and maybe, you know, somebody's going to think, well, you know what, it's so easy, I'm just going to say sorry, but it's not going to be as easy. You'll have to see a whole bunch of actions kind of like be implemented. Be also careful about the stubbornness, because that's also what this card, this confinement, can suggest, right? Because it can talk about something being self-imposed, and it can actually really talk about inability to move forward. So hence, let's keep it the way it is. I'm fine with that. Maybe somebody wants you to change and they get very angry and they start kind of like trying to push things in kind of that direction. And maybe this is what you who don't want it, or vice versa. So in any case, it looks like that there is going to be tension in between you and somebody else. You will win, but also would be advised to you, because you have the Hangman, which is telling you try to see it their way. I don't know if you will, but this is kind of like advice, because I know if there is a stubborn sign, ta-da, here we are. So these are the readings for today. Of course, we are going to do the doors as Barbie already suggested. So it cannot be the same question, guys, that you have. It has to be something else, and has to be something that, you know, can be more or less framed into yes or no. So that way you can kind of like get more higher quality answer. Okay, so let me go with these Russian cards that I even don't know the meanings. And that's why they're packed away. So let me hide this for a second. All right. the door on the left, the door in the center, and the door on the right. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so if you ask for the door on the left, the answer is Five of Swords, and this will be the thief that is really showing in Lenormand. And you feel that somebody invaded your territory. You feel that something happened to you that was invasive. Maybe you feel that simply you want to, if literally you're talking about money and theft or something that you have lost, this might come back. This might be retrieved. This might be found. This might be addressed properly, right? If somebody robbed you, quote unquote, of emotions, it's more or less going to be a situation where you're going to realize that kind of like, like it's gone. Whatever it is, I need to deal with, but I don't really want to go in this direction. This also could mean that somebody is leaving and that you're seeing that leaving as a betrayal. So sorry if that's the case. The door number 2, Kupki. It's again Kupki. So this must be Cups. This must be Cups, Kupki. So 4 of Cups here talks about somebody experiencing melancholy. There's like certain depression, and even though everything seems to be a setup for everything to work, maybe she's not realizing, or she's too much in her thoughts in order to understand that she can actually really engage with everything else. So you guys need to start looking for different options. The very thing that you want, no matter what comes to you, you will just say no to it. You are not realizing that thing will going to come to you in a little bit different form or what you're expecting it. So hence, you need to be open to it, because it looks to me you are too immersed into how things would work out, which is basically controlling, which 4s are always controlling cards. Instead, you need to kind of like just simply be and allow things to happen. And the door number 3, this is, oh my gosh, will I be able to even pronounce this? First is in Cyrillic, and I didn't read Cyrillic in 30 years. Spravedlivosť. It makes sense because pravda means justice. Spravedlivosť means, I guess, the justice as well. And you see it's number 8 over here. It's reversed. So, no. This is a no. Something is going to feel bad. Something's going to feel like you're on the receiving end on something. Maybe you wanted something that the karma card is telling you, how dare you ask that? So it's almost like slap on the wrist to I actually asked for the door number 3. You slap on the wrist and kind of like, don't you even think about it. That's kind of like what basically got here. And now we are getting the mods getting their second round. And so let's do that. Let's do this. So she put it up here. Yogi. She put it over here. Yogi, you're getting peace. That's kind of like the best card to get if you really think about it. So that's really interesting. Then, who is Loma? Who is Loma? Who is Loma? Oh, Laura. Lorna, right? Yeah, that's what it is. Lorna H. It's balance. Did you not get the same one? It's kind of like, just make sure everything is like working out properly, right? Then Barbie. Barbie's a Santa Claus, or what do you call it? Mrs. Claus over here. Did anybody watch Bad Santa? Man, I was like dying laughing. And when I laugh, I cough, which is not fun. Support. You did get it before, so ask for it. You're going to get it, and you need certain kind of like level of other people doing something for you, because there's certain levels of getting certain things you cannot do without kind of like engagement of the others. So that's really, really important over here. And Chris, Chris is a Christmas tree. Flexibility. So Chris, yoga, kind of being agile, not allowing things to stick will kind of be very important. As I said, this is going to be really, really week of lots of endings. So leave behind everything you want to leave behind. It's really time with this new moon, set new directions, and it's really, really going to work, guys. And Chansey, thank you so much. Lovely for you to say. And then we have Sally. Sally. We have humor. Sally, you're going to have lots of fun. You don't have the snow already. You have some reasons to have fun, like you and Chris. And I have like this double sweater, double hat when I go, double gloves. That's kind of like what winter is for you. So this is fun. It's going to be some lightheartedness, and whenever you see humor, things can really be resolved. And who else? We have CBO. We have CBO. Yeah, Lorna. I was like, who is this? Loma. Casa Loma, I was thinking. Spontaneity. And this is also kind of like letting go of any control, CBO, and just kind of like going with the flow. It almost like looks like she's dancing over here. So kind of loosening up. Maybe you need to kind of like do some yoga and some exercising yourself. Oh, look at Laura. It's okay, it's okay. I know it was me. And Isabel. Oh, look at that. You got this cute horsey. Now you're getting exploration. It's kind of like also maybe kind of like reaching out to somebody who is very far, or simply kind of like trying to look into things differently. By the way, Isabel is an amazing artist. Oh, so talented, beyond comprehensible. She reminds me of a 21st century Klimt. So if anybody is in a market for amazing paintings, you know where to find her. So you are maybe setting up new goals, new processes for something going on forward, and kind of like it kind of like really, really works. So who did you warn like Barbie? So guys, that was freaking awesome. I just can't believe it. We just managed to keep it around the time, hour and a half. And again, we are not here next week, but we are celebrating New Year together on the 2nd. So I'm going to send a note to everybody, like next week, that we are not on, and going to send you the stuff. And hopefully I'm trying to get the January readings next week. It's just like so many readings. If anybody wants their annual, please do order, but it's going to be read early in January because I'm already overwhelmed with what I have. So much kisses to everybody, guys. Have a Merry Christmas if you're celebrating. If not, happy holidays. All the best, guys. Enjoy it. I love you. I can't wait to kind of like see you in 2 weeks. And don't forget that on Thursday, is it? No, sorry, Monday. Pardon me. On Monday, it's the Great Conjunction. Go out in the sky. If you don't have a cloudy night, you'll be able to see this like huge shift that is going to change our lives enormously. So that's going to be fun to watch. Okay, a little bit of music, and of course the best wishes for 2021. And that goes without saying, but I'm going to do that in my monthlies when I do it, and then I'm going to be shifting a little bit things how I'm doing that in 2021, but I'll be telling you more about that soon. Okay, love you guys. You see, this cough syrup did help, and until the 2nd, all the best. And I wish you all the best.